Hey, good morning, everybody. Starting a little bit early today. Welcome back to today's show. Dr. Luigi Backpack and Healthcare Games. Damascus Ruinous Heap Prophecy. And this bizarre new meme. The Manhunt bus escape that has now emerged. Today we're going to get into all of that. We're going to get into some Bible prophecy about Damascus, as well as this new phenomenon that we call the madness effect, named after the TV series in which it appears, where people escape onto anonymous buses to escape a manhunt to find them. So this is all happening now, but it was all scripted in TV shows before it ever happened. Good morning and welcome back, you guys. Now, apologies if I'm a little bit slow today. I think I injured my arm. Jay and Cheryl came over to pick up some firewood, and I got out there just before they got there, and I was feverishly trying to chop up some wood for them. And I think I got some kind of impact fracture on my right arm, which is the arm that I used for everything we do here, right? The enemy is always looking to derail the truth, especially when we get on a roll. We're kind of on a roll right now, aren't we? And then boom. So I've got like this intense pain and my arm is stuck at 90 degrees. So I got it propped up on a pillow while I'm live here with you guys. And it's on my outside elbow where the tendon plugs into my elbow. I guess you would call that like the funny bone area. So it's swollen. It's bright red. It could be a tendon, pulled tendon, or some kind of impact fracture. I don't know. But we're going to stick with it, keep it going, right? My arm looks straight, so I don't think it's broke, but it's extremely painful and I can't move it. So now what else are we going to cover today? Well, let's get into another thing that I found. The Mario Brothers video games that are near perfect metaphors for the Luigi Mangione healthcare assassin story. Yes, I found Dr. Luigi, in which Luigi destroys healthcare. Look at this. So this is crazy, you guys. Now, for those of you that think this whole thing is silly and a waste of time, we're going to get into a TMZ story that actually acknowledges this Super Mario Brothers Luigi Mario connection. After we talked about it, it's actually a thing now. So what is this about? Well, here's Luigi. Dr. Luigi is the name of the game. And he essentially throws these pills into this bottle and then they explode. This is insane. What is this? It's a Tetris type game called Dr. Luigi. And he's fighting viruses by throwing pills into this bottle. Now, it's not an exact metaphor for what just happened with the Luigi healthcare insurance assassin, but close, right? I mean, who would have thought? Now, Luigi even had a backpack, just like the CEO assassin. Let's go through some of this, you guys. This is insane. So here's the game, Dr. Luigi, with the giant pill on it. Can't make this up. This came out in 2013. And then we have this backpack that Luigi wore, just like the CEO assassin. The game is called Luigi's Mangione. Luigi's Mansion. And here's the backpack. And what's it do? It's called the Poltergust. G00, which doubles for the word goo. You know, because they're essentially chasing a ghost, weren't they? In New York after this shooting. You guys, the metaphors are endless with this case. It's shocking. Now, what is this Poltergust G100? Well, here it is right here. It's basically a vacuum cleaner, and it captures ghosts. Now, I'm sure if we were to double down and go all, into this and down all these rabbit holes, we'd find even more connections, but I'm trying to give you guys a general outline of how this all works. Okay. Now, some of you will still refuse to believe the connections to Super Mario. Some will say we're wasting our time until you see something like this. This is out of TMC. This was the day after, or the day, it might have been the same day, that we had discovered the connection between the Mario brothers and Luigi Mario to this United Healthcare backpack shooter. And then here on the 10th of December, they actually acknowledge this in this TMZ article. Wow. Now let's read this because there may be clues, even more clues. Luigi Mangione is now charged with the cold-blooded killing of United Healthcare CEO, and social media is being flooded with memes hailing the suspect as a hero. Here's the deal. 26-year-old Mangione was apprehended Monday, and hours later, Manhattan DA charged him with murder for the brazen December 4th fatal shooting of Brian Thompson. Let's get down in here to some of these memes here. Look, they've got the 3 shells: delay, deny, depose on the turtle shells. And Luigi says, I killed the CEO. Mere minutes after the suspect was identified, an internet sleuth found on socials, admirers began posting Super Mario Brothers and Sopranos memes celebrating Mangione. Even before he was identified, morbid devotees held a lookalike contest in New York while others were buying the jacket that they thought was the same as the one worn by the suspect. Here they've got Luigi holding a gun. This is insane, you guys. Insane. So, that is what's going on. Now, let's get into some other stuff. And at this point, you have to wonder, right? You have to wonder if this was some kind of test to see if artificial intelligence could frame somebody by imprinting their face onto the actual killer. We already know AI can do this, and most people can't tell the difference. The only thing left would be a motive, right? I remember early on when they first showed pictures of this guy before we even knew his name, I was like, gosh, his face doesn't even look real in there. It looks like it's pasted into the hoodie. Of course, we don't know that for a fact, but it begs the question. Basically, anybody can become an enemy of the state in today's artificial intelligence. All they got to do is use AI to put your face onto camera footage, and then you become the enemy of the state. And we're going to talk about what all that means and where all this is headed as we get into the show. But here's a picture of the Hamburglar getting arrested, and look at the hair. It almost matches the beanie that Mangione was caught wearing when he went into McDonald's as the Hamburglar was arrested, right? Makes you wonder. Now, let me check in with you guys. And I was watching this brand new TV series called The Madness. Many of you have probably already seen it. Just came out in November. It's about a black man who's wrongly accused in the killing of a white supremacist. And essentially, all the episodes are him on the run. He's on the run trying to prove his innocence. And look at this. This is insane. I've got some video footage for you guys of this, because this is all about manhunts and people getting onto buses to escape. We saw it with Kobayashi. By the way, they just say they found her. We'll talk about that too. We saw it with Mangione too, where he escaped on a bus. So this is the guy who's wrongly accused. He makes the front page news and is all over TV. He's in Times Square, and he sees himself up on the screen as the killer. And there's no escape. Let's keep watching.
You know what? I'm glad he killed some neo fucking Nazi.
Notice the matrix behind him. This honeycomb matrix, because this is what this is going to be all about. There is no escape for the enemy of the state. Anyone can become a target. And it's all because we allowed technology to do policing. At this point, he escapes on a bus because that's the only bit of anonymity left in this world. Apparently, and notice how they advertise it. Okay. They're advertising it because eventually there won't even be anonymity buying a bus ticket. But they're putting it out there because they want you to know that there's no escape. So they're like, hey, we already know the one flaw in the system, and we're going to close that loop too. You won't even be able to buy a bus ticket. And if you've got an electric vehicle, we've got that handled too. And if you try to steal a vehicle, we got that handled too, because a camera will pick you up. And on and on and on.
No.
And I hope he had a good time.
In one of the ticket machines.
Onions and
now, you hear in the background here, and sorry for the skipping around, but this is just how I record it. Like I said, my arm hurts. I can't do all the editing I used to do to make everything look pretty and perfect. And so this is just what we got today. But the lady on the loudspeaker says, if you see something, say something. You guys, this came out in November, long before the New York Police Department got up on stage and said, oh, it's because you guys, you know, if you see something, say something, and we'll catch. And that's how we caught Luigi Mangione, who got on a bus and tried to escape. And this is the exact scenario in New York with this New York hat on that just happened. And it happened in this TV series that was recorded last year and just aired in November. This is unbelievable.
Welcome aboard, everybody. If you've got any large, we're going to be making stops in Newark, New Jersey, Sherry Hill, so should be terminating in Philadelphia. Just get back.
You see that? Terminated in Philadelphia, and that's where they caught the backpack healthcare CEO killer, Luigi Mangione. Wow.
Just get back.
Now, there are even more specific and startling similarities to the healthcare assassin in this series. And that is the hero murderer meme. The hero murderer meme, which is exactly what's happening now as well. They're hailing Mangione as a hero. And people are actually angry at the person at McDonald's who caught him. They're calling them a snitch. I mean, this is off the rails. Now, here it is depicted in the TV series. Again, the TV series is called The Madness. Watch.
Chopping up that white power piece of shit the way you did was you getting back to your roots. And brother, that woke me up.
Wow. So this is after he escapes a mansion where they try to kill him. He washed up on shore, and this guy in a trailer finds him on the beach, washed up, and is like hailing him as a hero, right? So more programming. Now, late in the season of this series, because I watched the whole thing over the last couple of days, it suggested that lithium and cobalt mining projects are at the root of the corruption. Here it is right here. Idaho, world's newest lithium producer. Remember a couple years ago, we were talking about this lithium mines, Burning Man, Thacker Pass, and I was ringing the alarm bells before any of these other lithium mines were discovered. And all these battery plants popped up all over the United States. And before Asheville, remember? Well, now all of a sudden it's a thing. And everyone now realizes it. But we were talking about this 2 years ago, and I was trying to tell you guys this is the shape of things to come. They're going to poison America with lithium mines. I'm going to re-upload that video so you can see just how, I don't like to use the word prophetic because I'm not a prophet, but I follow in the steps of the Holy Spirit to try to warn God's people about what's to come, to try to change it. Now we know it's not going to change, but we can get people on the right side of this so they're not part of the problem that is walking us towards the mark of the beast. So, here it is right here. Idaho, world's newest lithium producer. They also talk about cobalt. Let's watch this here. Let's back this up a little bit. Now, this guy plays an FBI agent, and he's investigating these rich billionaires and them trying to push through, and controlling the government to allow them to open up these lithium mines with little oversight. That's poisoning the environment. Here's another one. This one is permission in Minnesota for another mine.
I hear you, Brasco.
So this is all about permit corruption because the local communities are opposing these projects, but because of the corruption, they're being pushed through. And nobody's coming to save us. Trump's not coming to save us. Biden's not coming to save us. We have to save ourselves and realize the problem. They're literally telling us what they're doing in these TV shows, but people are so caught in the right-left paradigm, they don't want to wake up to it. They want to believe their God, Trump, or they want to believe their God, the liberals, whoever the new liberal God is. I don't know who that is. They don't really have one anymore, but this is insane. Watch.
Wright stated, quote, private companies should be given increased rights if we as a nation want to survive the climate crisis. Today, the FBI announced...
So they're talking about deregulating the search for, to mine lithium. Listen to this part.
Crates hired Jane to eliminate those in the way of deregulation. So I am imploring authorities to do their job.
So deregulation. We got one more here.
This is surveillance footage of them that I obtained from a private airport in Seagull Lake, Minnesota, where Revitalize owns one of the only prospective cobalt mines in the United States.
So cobalt mines in Minnesota. This is coming to a city and state near you if it already hasn't. And later, they actually mention that the billionaire in this TV series is pretending to save the planet while destroying it. And that's exactly the messaging that I told you guys a couple years ago. I said, even extreme liberals know that electric battery technology is horrific. It's a horrific scenario. There's no way to recycle these batteries. They just go into trash cans. They literally carve off the surface of the earth and create these toxic wastelands with sulfuric acid as a byproduct, which basically melts everything. And the batteries don't even last after they've been recharged several times. And now they're coming to every single state. They poison groundwater. Even extreme liberals know that this was bad under Biden, and this is going to continue under Trump.
One that will go completely unregulated if next fall's climate bill passes.
So now you know the truth. What will you do with it? Well, unfortunately, there aren't too many people listening, anymore because they're on the hopium train. They think Trump's going to change all this, but he won't. They're going to double down on this because too many billions have already been spent by these companies, just like in the series, that are corrupt, that are pushing these permits through, and the local people are being railroaded and steamrolled over. They're not being heard. It's not being covered by the national news because they're all in bed together, because this is their ultimate goal, is the electric kingdom. It always has been. Now, I do not recommend this series, and I'll tell you why. Okay. The one thing I still notice on the channel is that people, because they've bought into the right-left paradigm, there is some racial tension. Now, I don't call it racism, but I think it's racial tension, and it's all because of programming. It's not people's natural desire to act in such a way, but this particular TV series has a lot of triggering programming. It's programming people to act a certain way based on whatever race you are. Right? Now, I tend to focus on trusting people of opposite race. I trust people. That's how I lead until they give me a reason not to trust them. Especially if they're nice to me. Well, in the series, nice white people are seen as people you can't trust. So, of course, that would trigger black people. It will also trigger nice white people, wouldn't it? Because they'd be like, wow, black people look at us like that, even more nice to them. Well, not all black people look at you like that. Again, I tend to lead with trusting people. I just see people as people. Okay, I don't buy into the programming that white people are out to get me, right? But unfortunately, a lot of black people do. They think there's always an agenda behind a smiling white person. Okay, and the series is loaded with this stuff. Every few minutes, there's some kind of race baiting going on. And black people distrusting white people. And all that does is deepen these social issues instead of solving them, doesn't it? Now, let me give you a real life example, okay? I moved into an all-white community. Now, I didn't do that intentionally, okay? I've lived in mostly black communities. I've lived at different places. I've lived in other countries. But my demographic here, where I live, is 99.8% white, okay, in Arkansas, north central Arkansas. And, you know, people would think, wow, don't you feel that? I know I talk to my mother sometimes, and she's always like asking me these questions, like, is everything okay? I'm like, Mom, what are you talking about? I go, whatever scenario you think is happening out here, it's all driven by the media because it's completely untrue. All my friends out here are white. I get invited every week to go to dinner somewhere. Neighbors offer to bring me over food. There's no agenda. They're just nice people. And sometimes I wonder if part of my experience and being able to share this with people is to help people with race relations. Because you guys, this is the prime example. Now, it's crazy because I get pushback from some people. Like, you're not black. You don't talk like a black person. Well, this is why I had to intentionally post photos of myself. I don't like to do that on Instagram and on my Facebook. So you can see that I have a very ethnic look. Yeah, I have a lighter shade of black, but there are all kinds of shades of black. And, you know, it's a little bit hypocritical. Because on one note, people say, oh, if you even look or have any black in you, that's all that matters to white people. They don't care. If you're black at all, you're going to get it. But then that same argument does not hold water when they say, oh, you get special privileges because you're a lighter shade of black. And that's why they don't treat you a certain way. So which is it? Is it if you have any black in you that you're going to be treated different and they don't see you? Or is it the other way? You can't have it both ways, can you? So, let me give you an example. Again, I literally moved the demographic dial in this community when I moved here. I saw the percentage point of the demographic increase because it's such a small community. And there is a real life lynching going on out here. But it's not one that's happening to me. It's happening to a white lady who is a pillar of the community out here. Been here, grew up here. her whole life, her and her husband, always helping the community. I'm not going to give you too many details because I don't want to, out this person. But she is now the subject of a local witch hunt to remove her from her post in the community. So there are lynchings going on, but it's white on white. So that's just a little bit of insight into race relations and why I would not recommend this TV series, because it's going to trigger people, because you're going to get defensive. So the reason why I give you my experience is to neutralize these kinds of sorcery and ritualistic TV shows that continue to divide us and ruin race relations. Because only through our personal experience will we be able to neutralize this stuff, right? And so we should all be talking about it, shouldn't we? And that's why I talk about it. Otherwise, you're just going to believe what the programming says. Now, let's get into some other stuff in the show today. Let's close some of these windows up. Shocking. Now, if you've got thick armor and you know the game, then this is a pretty good series to watch, okay? If your armor is thick and you get the game and you know that this is all hogwash, then it's a really good series, actually. Okay, now let's get into Syria and Damascus. Because guess what? As it sits now, there is a bombing campaign going on across Syria. Pretty much all of the world powers aligned with the United States, Israel, I don't know who else. They are now bombing Syria into oblivion. They're jumping on this opportunity that Assad has left. And you have to wonder if this is the Ruinous Heap in Damascus being leveled to the ground. You have to wonder if this is fulfilling biblical prophecy. Now, they are saying now that these are all ISIS targets. Oh, we're rooting out ISIS. This is our opportunity. It's for the security of Israel. We're rooting out ISIS. We're bombing all their targets. But it begs the question. There are 2 Russian bases in Syria. Are they bombing those 2? And why aren't they if they're not? Right? You would think that they would want to weaken Russia and take this opportunity, because they already attacked what amounts to a Russian ally, which is Syria. This is why Assad's back in Russia now, in exile. And it begs the question, is this next? What if the U.S. does start bombing the Russian bases there that have Russian soldiers still there? Will this be the segue to World War III? Wow. So this is what's going on. And there are some maps. Some of these maps are a little bit older. Oh, this is this year. Israeli strikes on targets in Syria since December 8th. So this is just a thing all along the border here. And here's an older map. This was from 2021. There was bombing. Syria is literally being bombed out of existence. Wow. Let's read a little bit of this, and then we're going to read the biblical prophecy about all this. American warplanes pounded Syria with airstrikes. They hit dozens of targets in support of the anti-ISIS mission. So now there's a mission called the anti-ISIS mission. U.S. isn't the only military taking advantage of the current situation. They've carried out extensive airstrikes in Syria. American, Israeli, and Turkish have all been involved in the bombing across Syria over the past few days. For the U.S., this means continuing to go after the Islamic State, as it has done for years. Wow. Widespread military action in Syria. Now, let's see here. What is this? Now, a lot of people believe that the prophecy of Damascus was already fulfilled. A lot of biblical scholars also believe that, because I guess Damascus was already leveled back in history. But some believe that it could be a second fulfillment. Here's an article. What do you know about the fate of Russia's military bases in Syria? So right now they're being untouched, but it's only a matter of time. Look at the Russian bases are probably they're near Lebanon, so not far. All within that area of where Israel was doing a lot of its bombing that we just saw on the map before. So this is a thing. Now, what does biblical prophecy say about Damascus in Isaiah 17? Well, Damascus will no longer be a city, but will be reduced to a pile of ruins. The royal power of Damascus will disappear. So we just saw Assad disappear, didn't we? Only a few people will remain alive. The strong cities of Israel will be deserted. The land will become dry and empty. Well, it's kind of already a desert, right? The glory of Jacob's people will fade, and the people will experience sickness and pain that won't go away. So again, it says here, the prophecy was fulfilled in 732 BC when the Assyrians laid siege to and destroyed Damascus. But again, some people think that maybe there's a second fulfillment of this prophecy. Spooky, right? Now, what else is going on around the world? Well, Russia is starting to look more and more and more like North Korea in terms of being shut off from the rest of the world. A lot of that was imposed by the enemies of Russia, them being canceled on the world stage and in the economy. And now they're circling the wagons, and they are cutting off access to the global web, and VPNs can't get around it. Yes, Russia is in the process of making their own internal internet and developing it so that the people there will only be able to see what they see, and the people outside will not be able to get in. Now, this is a huge move. This is similar to what's going on in North Korea, and this will further isolate Russia and put pressure on them to step up their game in terms of defense. This is insane, you guys. Let's read this. Russia has reportedly cut some regions of the country off from the rest of the world's internet for a day, effectively siloing them, according to these reports from Western news outlets. Russia's communications authority blocked residents in Dagestan, Chechnya, and Ingushetia, which have majority Muslim populations. The three regions are in the southwest Russia, near its borders with Georgia and Azerbaijan. People in those areas couldn't access Google, YouTube, Telegram, WhatsApp, or any other foreign websites or apps, even if they used VPNs. Wow. These latest partial internet blocks are because Russia is testing its own sovereign internet that it can fully control. Russia already tested blocking or throttling sites like YouTube this year by slowing down speeds so much that sites are virtually unusable. Russia has reportedly poured $648 million into its national internet. Now, this is interesting because when I go on to Odyssey, which is where all my stuff is backed up on, in case you were wondering, it's super slow. It does not perform as all the other sites that I go to do. The videos are choppy, and you have to wonder if the United States isn't somehow blocking sites like Odyssey. Now, why is Odyssey special? Why is Odyssey a website that the United States would want to block? Well, because they run Russian television, RT, right? And so, therefore, the United States doesn't want people seeing the truth about what's going on over there. They don't want people to know that. They just want us to keep dumping money into the Ukraine, right? And so, yes, censorship is real. It is very real. This is how they throttle certain messages from getting out, don't they? So, what else is going on? I got a couple more headlines for you guys. Let's see here. Oh, I got a Hannah Kobayashi update. But before we get into that, apparently there's something weird going on with people from Ground Zero. Men are developing breast cancer near Ground Zero. 90 times the national average. Now, what could possibly cause this? This is insane, you guys. Number of men who have developed breast cancer while working or living around Ground Zero has skyrocketed. 91 men. Gosh, isn't that interesting? 91 is the opposite of 19. 19 hijackers with box cutters. They have been diagnosed with breast cancer. 6 times the number that was reported in 2018 and 90 times higher than the national average. So we've got ourselves what they call a cluster, a cancer cluster, don't we? It is a rarity for men. 1 out of every 100,000 males get the potential killer disease. Insane, you guys. Now, what are they saying here? It is so unusual that many men don't even know they can get breast cancer. And it says here the rate is a staggering. Okay, we already read that. Let's see. This is just the tip of the iceberg. Breast cancer is really exploding among men. There are more than 50 cancers and other illnesses presumed to be linked to stew of toxins that spewed into the air. The 2 World Trade Center towers in Manhattan collapsed after blah, blah, blah. Wow. Shocking, you guys. Shocking. So I'll put a link to this as well. What else is going on? Well, some people are going to be really ticked off about this next story. Hannah Kobayashi. The family is now saying, you ready for this? And I want to get your guys' reaction to this in the chat after I read this. The family is now saying that she has been found safe. That's all they say. And that her father's death was our fault. Why? Because we tried to help them and tried to find her. Wow. They said the rampant speculation is what freaked the dad out to the point where he wanted to kill himself. Unbelievable. Now, this is really weird, isn't it? Weird turn of events. This is the kind of thing that's going to make people not want to help when they see a national story like this. You know, you guys, speculation is part of any investigation, isn't it? Since when did we get our hand slapped for speculating about anything? All speculation is good speculation because it opens the mind to the possibilities of what could have happened outside of normal thinking, right? Now, wow. Now, a lot of people wanted to help. They were simply trying to help. So that's why they call them internet sleuths. But they're definitely trying to demonize internet sleuthing, right? They're saying it's not productive. It can drive people to suicide. How about we rename the title, okay? How about the family was the one who freaked everybody out by saying she was missing, which made her dad go try to find her, and then he got suicided, and maybe they got paid off to sweep all this under the rug. That's what I'm wondering, if this is what happened. Because who in their right minds blames the people that are trying to help them rather than the spoiled brat who went off the grid on her off the grid tour? And that was the real reason why her dad went into grief. Had she just showed up or called somebody, he would still be alive, wouldn't he? And then they ignore the fact that she likely saw all this go down, right? She must have seen all this go down on the news. She saw that her father was looking for her. This whole story just stinks, doesn't it? So let me check in with you guys, and then we're going to get into an update on these mystery drones. It's another bizarre story, isn't it? Good morning, everybody. I mean, what do you guys think about this? I mean, obviously this woman had money. She's buying plane tickets and bus tickets and traveling all over. She doesn't want to be found. And now it's all of our faults? I don't think so. Well, we don't play that. But you notice how they're trying to pigeonhole. They're basically coming after alternative media. Okay? The same thing happened with the healthcare shooter. They're coming after people like us. They're trying to basically depict him as one of us, right? Because he was railing against the corporations. Well, we do that, but we would never go shoot somebody, and we tell people not to do that. That's not how you wake people up. You wake people up by talking about the lies and catching them in their inconsistencies and helping more and more people to wake up so that change can happen, like our corrupt healthcare system. And then you come up with solutions, which is what we do here as well. We talk about solutions just as much as we complain. So, all right. So what do you guys think about all this? And we'll get into these mystery drones over New Jersey. Now, here's what's interesting about these mystery drones. Because they still have no explanation as to what happened. Okay, they've got all this technology, right? They've got radar and all this. Apparently, these drones were first spotted over an armory, which of course is federally protected. But yet, the authorities will take no action to capture these drones or to find out what they're doing. And this leaves me with only one logical explanation as to what's going on. The only logical explanation any critically minded thinking person could come up with is that this is all about drone conditioning. For all of us to just accept rogue surveillance drones as part of normal life. That's about the only explanation I can come up with as to why the authorities are just, no alarm here, nothing to see here. It's probably just a drone the size of a car flying near the armory. Don't worry about it. It's just, what else are we to think at this point? What else are we to think? Now, let's take a look here. It looks like we got a few more channel members. Thank you so much for that. For those of you that go above and beyond and become channel members, that's awesome. I really appreciate that. Now, let's get into what else we have here. Oh, here it is. Let's plug this in here. So, this is maddening, you guys. Let me read this. Homeland Security shares new details of mysterious drone flights over New Jersey. Let's see what they have to say. The large, mysterious drones reported flying over parts of New Jersey in recent weeks appears to avoid detection by traditional methods, like helicopters and radio, according to state lawmakers of Homeland Security. In one post, this Assemblywoman, Dawn Fantasia, describes the drones as up to 6 feet in diameter and sometimes traveling with their light switched off. Nothing to see here. The Morris County Republican was among several states and lawmakers who met with state police and Homeland Security to discuss the spate of sightings that range from New York City area through New Jersey, westward into parts of Pennsylvania. Now, we had covered a strange-looking UFO-type light before all this went down, didn't we? This is why it's important to stay caught up on the channel, because typically we're ahead of all this stuff with our daily shows, but you would never know unless you tuned in and watched the shows every day. Remember the drone that they caught flying over New York? It was actually an orb or a ball of light. Well, that must tie into this somehow. Now, they admit that these are not hobbyists' drones, but yet down here they say, oh, there's nothing we could do here about this. They pose no danger. Well, the very fact that they're, flying up there and they don't know what these things are poses a danger. This reminds me of the white Chinese balloons that flew over the U.S. Remember that? Oh, nothing to see here. They shot it down and all of a sudden we get no additional information about what was on the drone. They could have easily just deflated the balloon and looked at all the stuff, right? And told us exactly what was going on with these white Chinese balloons. Could have detailed pictures and all this stuff, but instead they incinerate it so that there's no evidence left. That doesn't make any sense at all. So there's something up here, and I think that this is all about, as I said, conditioning people to accept strange drones flying overhead as normal, and there's nothing they can do about it. And that's just going to be Skynet. That's the surveillance state. That's what it really is. And this whole situation, I was thinking about it this morning, this whole situation with the United Healthcare and the Manhunt and the Kobayashi Manhunt, you guys, this is a ritual about the shape of things to come. It's the future. They're setting it up for Trump. They're handing him off the football with these rituals. Okay? That's what it is. It has to be what it is. They're conditioning all of us to accept this, to accept manhunts, to accept strange drones, and the use of artificial intelligence technology. They're basically throwing a bunch of stuff at us. And so that it's like, okay, imagine you're on a tennis court with one of those tennis ball machines and they're shooting tennis balls at us. But by the end of it, the person behind the tennis ball machine is essentially, I don't know, building a weapon while these balls are coming at you. And all you can do is do everything you can to field all this information. But behind it all, they're just building a weapon. Okay? That's what this is all about. It's chaos magic. And when all the chaos settles, we will wake up in the Trump presidency with surveillance drones, weekly manhunts of different people they want to frame for whatever. And this will be our new world. Okay? It won't be too much longer after that before they start weaponizing these drones and putting guns on them. And they'll say, oh, we have to do this. They'll set up some false flags. And by the end of it, there will be drones with guns on them. And they'll be able to speak through these drones. We will literally be in the Terminator scenario. Now, if you don't think I'm telling the truth, just wait a few years and you'll see, but then it'll be too late. Now, Biden is on a tear. Apparently, he has the most pardons of any other president. This is unbelievable. Biden commutes roughly 1,500 sentences and pardons 39 people in the biggest single-day act of clemency. This is on December 12th. And this begs the question. Now, I was looking at this because I was like, okay, where's all this headed? Well, Trump's obviously going to pardon just as many or more, probably, so that he can counter Biden. And people will say, oh, that's good that Trump's pardoning all those people. I guess he has since come out and said he is going to pardon all of the Jan 6ers. Well, that remains to be seen. We'll see if that happens. But this is setting the stage. And I asked this question 4 years ago, and I'm going to ask it again. Will Trump pardon Ghislaine Maxwell? Now, this is weird. Remember Trump said, I wish her well? And then apparently there was an interview after that in which Ghislaine Maxwell said that she was thankful to Trump for wishing her well. And she said that this gave her a boost. What a strange world we live in. A trafficker. And so you have to wonder, when Trump comes back into power, will he pardon Ghislaine Maxwell? And if he does, I'm wondering if this is just, if she was never in jail to begin with, right? I mean, she's probably just hiding out on some island, waiting, because they already know who's going to be president. We already know this. For those of you that are wide awake, you know that all presidents are selected. There's still a large part of our truth community that doesn't understand that. They think Trump won, yeah, he was more popular, but they did the job for them, right? But these presidents are selected, okay? Believe it or not, even Biden was selected. Why? Because he had to make us feel the pain first before we accepted what Trump's going to do in Trump 2.0. We had to feel the pain, didn't we? And so they needed people to come out and give a popular vote for Trump, which is exactly what happened. And so here we are. But strange world we live in, you guys. Strange world. That would be crazy if Ghislaine Maxwell got pardoned. Now, tomorrow, I had 2 Super Mario Brothers movies from, that old movie with John Leguizamo. And I downloaded them. There was a 2-parter. I'm going to try to trim it all down, edit it down to a 1 single re-upload. And I think that we're going to see stuff in there that's happening right now with this whole Luigi Mangione situation. I remember this Super Mario Brothers decode. It didn't get too much traction because it's kind of silly, right? A lot of people aren't into Super Mario. But given we've just experienced over the last week with this Mangione character in this, manhunt thing, I'm going to think that there's some stuff that applies to what's happening now. So I'm going to get on that right now, edit that together, try to put it in 1 single re-upload, and that'll probably be tomorrow's show. I'm back in the chat, you guys. Wow. Okay. Good morning. It definitely feels like the crazy train, doesn't it? Palantir is one of several indestructible crystal balls. Yes. And if you didn't know this about Palantir, they admit that they named it after the crystal ball, all-seeing eyes from Lord of the Rings. They admit that. And their logo is the crystal ball. So very little stretching is necessary, okay? They're literally telling us what our world's going to look like. All right. Yeah, you know, people here, I still get this too. Oh, Casey, you got to stop going after Trump. Look at all he's been through. Look at all he's been through. They came after him like 10 times. Who do you know in politics that's been come after as much as Trump has and still comes out scot-free? Nobody. That tells you everything you need to know, that it was all orchestrated. When they want to go after someone and shut them down, they do it. There is no game. There is nobody ever goes to jail. They just do it. So the fact that, you know, Trump has 9 lives tells you everything you need to know right there, that it was all staged and orchestrated to convince people to feel exactly how they're feeling, that Trump's been persecuted. I mean, how lucky would a person have to be to overcome all that stuff? Well, Casey, it's because there was no evidence to support anything that he did. You're still falling for it. You're still falling for it. So that's just real talk, you guys. That's just real talk. All right. What else is going on? Mange oni, says Julia. Mange own eye. Yeah, mange is like a form of alopecia, hair loss. Okay. All right. Meg says, how do you become a member? Oh, there's just a join button on the front of the channel. Just hit the join button. That more and more bizarre the news daily loads. There's a cowboy show called Palantir, says Snowball. Thanks, Christy. It's all a show, says Jess. Aragon went to cave pirates' ghost and made a deal with them to release their souls, says Dr. Frankenstein. Staged. So many people are fooled, says Jennifer. You're absolutely right. They won't realize it until after. They'll think, this is great. Artificial intelligence policing is great. We can go after the Democrats. And you too. Oh my goodness. The mangy one. Okay. Humorous has no sound. Please somebody tell Humorous to refresh. Thanks, Marion. Disappearances are permissible in times of stressors. Yeah, maybe that's the whole thing behind all this, you know? These people disappearing. The calm, false peace before the storm. All right. Mangy one. Man GI one, says Morgan. Okay. All right, guys. I'm going to get to this editing. I'll try to do the best job possible. Make sure you guys are, and then I'll be in the chat with you guys tomorrow. Again, not sure how much typing I'll do. Got a broken wing over here, but I'll do the best that I can. Thanks for all the channel members that signed up. Much love to you guys. Have a great rest of your day. I'll put links in the pinned comment. Take care.